Today I'm going to revisit 10 affordable fragrances that I've previously reviewed on my channel. Hey guys, I'm George, the nice magic gentleman, and it's time for your dose of some fragrance content. Today I'm going to do something that I do from time to time, and that's revisit some affordable fragrances that I've previously reviewed on my channel and give you sort of my updated thoughts on all of 10 of them. And I'm going to start with a few from the brand of Armaf. The first one is part of the Lion's Club line that's called Rouir. Looks like this, has this very hideous looking bottle. This fragrance is heavily inspired by Parfum de Marly's Layton. Now, for some reason, Armaf decided to, play it very late when it comes to a Layton clone, because a lot of other Middle Eastern brands have already done their version of a Layton clone. Armaf took their time, but at the end of the day they created something that smells very nice and something that smells very similar to the original fragrance. Initially, when I first reviewed this one, I was quite impressed by the fragrance itself, how close it smells to the original one, how good it smells, how it performs. And to be honest, in the past months nothing has changed, because I really think that Armaf have done a good job with this one. It remains one of your best options if you're looking for an an Layton clone. Now, there are a few different type of Layton clones. There are a few different price tiers when it comes to Layton clones. This one is priced somewhere in between the most expensive and the cheapest ones, and out of those sort of on the middle of the ground priced clones of Layton, this is probably one of your very best options. It's not the absolute best clone of Layton that you can get, but definitely is one of those best options if you're looking for like a middle of the ground price tag. The other one from Armaf that I'm going to revisit in this video is part of the Odyssey line, and this one is called Odyssey Lemoni Fresh Edition. And this is an interesting fragrance which for once doesn't smell like a clone of anything. This smells more like a twist or an inspiration of an original scent. That original scent comes from the brand of Louis Vuitton, and it's called Afternoon Swim. And the Armaf take on this scent profile is very interesting, because first of all, this is a lot fresher. This is like the lot younger, lot more youthful brother of Afternoon Swim. This opens up very bright. I really like the opening of this fragrance. It's heavy on that lemon note, which comes, the name of this fragrance pretty much comes from that. It has a few other, fresh notes, citrusy notes, mandarin note, an orange note, the bergamot note. This feels a little bit aquatic, feels a little bit green. There's a bit of sweetness and quite a bit of muskiness on the dry down. This is a very bright and very easy to wear fragrance for those of you who want to smell like freshly squeezed citruses. I was very impressed with this one initially, and to this day I keep getting impressed by how lovely and bright this fragrance smells. Now, the next three scents that I'm going to talk about in today's video briefly come from the brand of Paris Corner. The first one is one of those scents that I was quite impressed initially. I've mentioning this one on and off in my videos because I really like this one. It's called Prodigy. It has a metallic cap, it has a pressurized sprayer, and it smells very nice. This is an inspiration of Alexandria 2 from Rzeszów. Now, this is not identical. This is like a easier to wear version of Alexandria 2, because this feels more airy, this feels sweeter. It has less of those woody notes that you'll find in the original fragrance. It has less of the spices, and it's like a more wearable version of Alexandria 2 if you find the original one a little bit challenging, although I find it like perfectly wearable. But still, this smells very nice. It's like a sweeter Alexandria 2. I've been really digging this one because I really like the original fragrance, and there aren't that many good clones of Alexandria 2 from the Middle East, but fortunately Paris Corner have done a pretty good job with this one. Good performance as well, and the price tag is pretty low, and to this day I really like this one. The next one is a fragrance that again I was very impressed by initially. It's called Farah, and up until I tried this one, my most favorite clone of Initio's side effects that I had tried came from the brand of French Avenue, and it was called After Effect. Now, After Effect is still a great fragrance, I still like it a lot, but I think Farah smells a little bit closer to the original fragrance because it gets some of the notes and the combinations of notes that you'll find in the original one, better. It does it better and closer. After Effects smells a little bit more spicy than the original fragrance, smells a little bit sharper than the original one, whereas Farah feels a lot more balanced and a lot more creamy. You'll still find the same notes as the original one. You'll find the rum note, the tobacco note, the vanillic sweetness, and all that stuff. This maybe feels a little bit brighter than the original one, just like Prodigy. This one may be feeling a little bit lighter and brighter and slightly easier to wear, but still as a clone, as a Middle Eastern clone of of After Effect. Of side effect, excuse me, this is done very nicely, and to this day I'm very impressed with this one. Again, pretty solid performance and really good quality. The last one from Paris Corner that I'm going to talk about was again one of their scents that I was really impressed by the first time that I tried it. It's called Mouch Cognac Blaze. This is a whole series of fragrances that look pretty similar to each other, and the only difference is the juice color. All three that are part of this line are cloning original Kilian scents. This one is smells pretty similar to Angel Share, but it's not a clone of Angel Share. And it's a very interesting creation that to this day remains very underrated in my opinion, and for some reason this doesn't get talked about too much. It didn't get talked about too much when it was released, and to this day it sort of flies under the radar a little bit. This is like taking the scent profile of the original one, toning down a little bit the boozy note, toning down the sweetness, and adding a coffee note. And if that sounds interesting to you, I can definitely tell you that it smells interesting. This smells warm, it smells sweet, it smells boozy, and at the same time smells of a coffee. And it's great. I absolutely love this one. This is like a warmer and more cozy version of Angel Share. And again, I appreciate the fact that Paris Corner didn't try to do a straight up clone. They went with a little bit more imagination and they created Mouch Cognac Blaze. To this day, I think this remains a hidden gem. Smells very nice, the quality is good, and the performance of this one is also very strong. The next one that I'm going to talk about comes from the brand of Fragrance World. It's part of the Proud of You line, and this one is called Proud of You Tobacco. The reason why I'm revisiting this one is that a few days ago I gave this one a wear. I hadn't worn this one for a very long time. I just wanted to remind myself how this one smells, and it smells nice. And it also smells very similar to the original one from Armani. Now, for some reason, the whole Stronger With You line looks like has been very easy to copy, very easy to clone, because pretty much all of the clones of that Stronger With You line that I've tried smell pretty nice and pretty similar to the original ones. And Proud of You Tobacco makes no difference. This carries the signature backbone of the original line of fragrances, the sweetness, vanillic, ambery sweetness, a hint of the freshness, that tobacco note, which adds just a hint of an interesting layer on top of that very likable and very popular scent profile. And overall this smells very nice and very close to the original one. The only problem that this one has is the performance. It's not a weak fragrance, it lasts for a good amount of time, but it doesn't project very loudly, and I found that to be the case with pretty much all Proud of You scents from Fragrance World. But it's very cheap and smells very similar to the original one. The next one that I'm going to revisit comes from the brand of Afnan, and it's called Historic Sahara. And this one was very impressive initially, and to this day remains very impressive. This one is a clone of Parfum de Marly Saltaire and smells pretty similar to the original one, and along with maybe with Liquid Brune. These are the two very best clones of Altair that you can get, and I like this one from the first spray and I like it to this day. Now this still feels maybe slightly more spicy than the original one and slightly more airy than, let's say, something like Liquid Brune. Liquid Brune maybe feels a little bit sweeter, but overall those two fragrances in my opinion will get you you know, the closest way possible to the original scent from Parfums de Marly. It's sweet, it's spicy, it's heavy on the white florals, heavy on the vanilla, heavy on the ambroxan, smells modern, smells likable, will get you compliments, has nice quality and strong performance and projection and all that. And I really haven't changed my mind on this one. I really like it just the same way I did on day one. Now this next one that I'm going to talk about is one of those rare cases where I've actually changed my mind on quite a bit. It comes from the brand of Arabiyat Prestige, and this one is called Habib for men, and this smells pretty similar to something like, it has a pressurized sprayer just like pretty much everything else from Arabiyat Prestige. This smells a lot like Jean-Paul Gaultier's Lemon Elixir, but it's a clone with a twist. It's an interesting creation. Initially when I tried this one I was very disappointed at first, mainly because not because I didn't like how this one smells, but I was disappointed by the performance of this one. I even talked about the performance of this one with the guys from Arabiyat Prestige. They promised me that they're going to work on the performance of this fragrance in their future batches. I hope they did, because this improved when it comes to performance, but still is not as good of a performer as some other Lemon Elixir clones. This is a clone with a twist. This feels a little bit more fruity, feels a little bit less sticky sweet, feels a little bit lighter on the tobacco note than the original fragrance, but this still smells of very nice quality, smells very nice. Now, as I said, I've changed my mind on this one quite a bit because I like it more nowadays than I did initially. Also, I've noticed that the performance has improved on this one, especially when we talk about staying power on skin. The projection is still a little bit more on the moderate side, but when it comes to staying power, this has actually, you know, it becomes stronger and stronger, and that's something that I kind of expect with pretty much any fragrance from the Middle East nowadays. But still, I think that the initial performance of a fragrance when you buy it should be at least like good, maybe not the best, maybe at least good. So if it's good initially, you know that with a bit of time it will become a very good. So that's just a side note. I've changed my mind on this one quite a bit. I like it more than I initially did. It's now a better performer than it initially was, but still no, it's not. It's still, though it's not the greatest performer in the world. I'm going to finish off with two scents from the brand of French Avenue. The first one is called Veneno, the black one from this lineup. This one is a clone of Kilian's Smoking Hot, and it's a very nice creation that again, initially I liked. Maybe I wasn't like a huge fan, but I liked. But with time I've actually started to appreciate this one a little bit more, because I start to understand what this one is trying to do. This is a clone with a bit of a twist, because in my opinion this feels a little bit less smoky than the original fragrance, maybe a little bit less spicy. This feels a little bit more on the sweeter side, maybe a little bit heavier on the vanillic note than the original one. And also the performance of this one has improved quite a lot since the time that I did my full review. So it's sweet, it's spicy, it's smoky, it smells Middle Eastern, smells Oriental, smells of very nice quality, and nowadays the performance is also quite good. So I've had sort of a slight positive change in mind on Veneno. And the last one that I'm going to talk about is called Amber Saffron from French Avenue, and this is the only fragrance featured in today's video which is not a clone or doesn't even feel like an inspiration. This one is more like an original creation from the guys of French Avenue and Fragrance World, and this one smells absolutely fantastic. Now I really haven't changed my mind on this one. It has a bit of a weak sprayer though, because I really like this. It has some agar oud, it has some florals, it has maybe a leather note. This smells a little bit on the challenging side, maybe feels a little bit smoky, especially the opening can feel a bit skanky and animalic. The more it settles on skin though, the easier to wear it becomes, more sweetness is starting to show itself up. And overall, this is a very nice, dark, sophisticated and dressed up masculine fragrance. Super nice quality, especially the saffron note in this one is of a very, very high quality. It comes across almost boozy. I've said this many times before, but fragrances that are heavy on the saffron note have always smelled like having a bit of a boozy vibe to them. But this is a superb fragrance that I really like a lot. My opinion hasn't changed on this one little bit, because it's absolutely superb to this day. And so guys, in today's video I revisited 10 cheap fragrances that I've previously reviewed on my channel, and I gave you my updated thoughts on all 10 of them. I hope that you found today's video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in my next video for your dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.